So I'm going to attempt to make a repair on my nitro. Had some road debris come up, break the marker light on the trailer, did some damage to the metal right here. But more devastatingly, took a big old chunk out of the side of my boat. So here's the kit that I'm using today. That's from the Evercoat Marine Company. Got it on Amazon for about 45 bucks. It comes with quite a bit of gel coat and dye and hardener and really everything you need to do quite a large repair or several smaller ones. For my boat, since it's a bass boat, it's all glittery and sparkly, as you can see. I did pick up some glitter from a hobby store. Nothing special about it, it's just some arts and crafts glitter. Got a pretty good match on the red, as you can see, and then the black part does have some silver in it, so I got some silver as well. Didn't need hardly any of that at all, but it comes in that size, and we'll use very, very little of that just to get the finish we want. Also got some 320 grit wet dry sandpaper, some 1000 grit for the last sanding, and then of course some polishing compound and a drill with drill attachment with a little polishing pad on it. And that's really all the equipment we need. That and some paper towels and plenty of light. And so just kind of taped around the area, try to keep everything else neat and clean. Did want to leave a little bit of gel coat around the edges of the main problem, because we're going to be basically with some heavy grit sandpaper. I'm going to go around the edges here, and I'm going to create a taper or a bevel, and that's going to give me a little more for that gel coat to grab onto. All right, so what I did was I put my polyester gel paste into this cup. I put 2 teaspoons. I didn't need a whole lot, but since the instructions showed 4 drops of hardener for every teaspoon of gel coat, I decided to keep it simple and just mix up 2 teaspoons. Took about maybe 2 drops of the black dye to get a full black color. If you're mixing to match colors other than black, then I feel for you. Just stay patient and try what you can try. Luckily I was dealing with black, not really any trouble there, but I got enough of the gel coat on there to basically fill in the whole chunk, and I wanted to make it stand taller than the actual damage was, of course. And I got my this little clear non-stick stuff on top of it right now, so it's supposed to help it cure. Now, because mine's on a weird angle, I wasn't able to make it totally flush, so we'll see how that turns out. Really, this first layer of gel coat I'm gonna pretty much sand down anyway. The only reason I had to do it anyway was just to get that black background. But my final layer is going to be clear, and that's when I'm going to put my glitter, my metal flake, into the mixture, and we're going to be putting clear over that black. If we were to just put the glitter straight into the gel coat, it wouldn't have had that deep, sparkly dimension. It would have just been real flat. It wouldn't have had any good shine to it. So we're going to let that harden for maybe an hour or 2 and come out and check on it and see if we can peel it off and start sanding on it. So we're already seeing an improvement. Kind of had an afterthought that I wanted to get that tape off of it, because fear that when it hardens up, the tape that's stuck under it's going to somehow rip up the edges. So I kind of got in my own head and decided to go ahead and rip the tape off while the gel coat's still tacky. Looks pretty good. It looks like we pretty much filled everything. See a little bit of residue, a little discoloration above it right here, and on the side there. I think that's where there was tape. I think some acetone kind of weaseled its way up under the tape, and that's just a little bit of glue, so that'll come off no problem. Once it gets nice and rock hard, probably to be tomorrow, I'll get to sanding on it, smoothing it out, working on this edge over here, just cleaning up the overall look of it, and kind of bringing it down a little bit, and then we'll mix up some clear gel coat and throw in our red and silver glitter and put a thin layer of that over the top of it, and after that a bunch of wet sanding and polishing, and it should be good as new. but I'm pretty hopeful right now. That's looking pretty good. You just step back, you can hardly tell. But we're gonna give it a nice glittery, shiny finish by the time all said and done. It's kind of cool out today, and it's raining outside. It's real moist in the air, so I think it'll be tomorrow before I can do any kind of sanding. All right, so we got all the tape off, let the gel coat harden. I got to sanding on it after about 20 hours or so. It was harder earlier than that, but I figured I'd get some sleep. So after sitting for 24 hours, more than hard enough to sand on, got the desired shape here. You can see I was able to build it up. It's not perfect, and those little specks you see on there are not glitter. What they are is where air got trapped in the gel coat. Something I wasn't really prepared for. But when you apply this stuff real thick by hand, there's going to be air in it. No matter how much you sand, you're going to keep finding new air pockets. So that's kind of what I'm facing now. I've wet sanded and polished it just to kind of see what it was going to look like. Those air bubbles aren't going anywhere. So at this point I can try to cover it again with a thin layer of black and sand it smooth, hopefully not have any air bubbles. I think what I'm going to do actually is just get it as shiny as I can in its current state, and then go over it with some clear, mix my glitter in, and I think all those little white specks will blend in nicely with the glitter. Since it's such a low point of the boat, I'm really not that concerned about perfection. For those of you that are more concerned about perfection, I would recommend getting yourself a gravity feed paint gun with a tip that can accommodate thick gel coat with the glitter, and of course you'd have to dilute it down with styrene, but I didn't want to go that route. I didn't care to do the whole sprayer gun. It seemed kind of messy and like a lot of work. So we're going to keep trucking the way we're going, and I'll get that clear on there as smooth and thin as I can with the glitter and give it a good sand and polish, and I'll check in with you. Alright, so I got my clear gel mixed with my my glitter that I just got from a local hobby store. Really good match on the glitter. But right now I have just some like kitchen cellophane over it. Previously I had just used some flat plastic sheets of clear, just some stuff you're supposed to put over it that came with my kit, and I couldn't really work around the contours of the edge, and it meant I had to do a whole lot of extra sanding. So this time I got the cellophane on there, and it kind of holds to the shape a little better, so hopefully it'll be a little less sanding. But it really looks good compared to where we started. I think once it dries for about an hour or so, we're going to take the cellophane off, give it a quick sand with some 320, and then mostly just a lot of wet sanding with some 1000, and then a good polish, and I think it's going to look really good. So we'll let it harden, and I'll check back and show you how the finished product looks. Alright, so the final product of our repair is right here. Now if you get up and close, you can see some discoloration. We didn't have a perfect match on the black. There's still some little pockets down here on the bottom that have some of my buffing compound in them. That's why they look so white. I'm pretty sure that's all going to wash out and look pretty good. Final result, final thoughts on it is it's not perfect. It's not as good as I wanted it to be, but it's good enough for me to live with. I do have some thoughts of what we could have done to come out with a better result. Number one would be match the black to it a little better, because our black was a little flat. I could keep sanding on it and get it to finish a little smoother. I could have applied thinner layers to begin with and tried to eliminate some of these air bubbles that created all these little white specks. And you know, those are pretty visible. But I didn't want to keep sanding. I didn't want to keep putting layer on layer. To me, it's in a pretty low location on the boat, and compared to what we started with, I'm overall quite satisfied with it. It's strong, it's hard as a rock. I did get some glitter in it, so in sunlight it's going to match for the most part. But from a normal standing height, you're not hardly going to notice it, and when it's in the water, it's going to be underwater. So it was an experiment. You know, I don't have much experience with these things, but hopefully whoever's watching this has learned what they can do, you know, learn their options, and maybe what they can do to have a little bit better results. But we'll see. I'm sure there'll be more damage to come from normal wear and tear, and I'll try to get it right next time.